जय जय माँ, जय जय माँ, जय जय माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। मैं आत पहर महिमा गाऊं, तेरे सुमिरन से सुख पाऊं। हे परम सुखदाई परदायनी हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। तू दिव्य ज्योत, तू सुख तारक, तू भक्त जनों की उतारक। भव सागर में सब के तारक, तू स्वयं शक्ति शक्तिदारक। मैं देव सिरन तुझको ध्याऊं, तेरे सुमिरन से सुख पाऊं। हे परम सुखदाई परदायनी हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। तू भव प्रीता नंदमयी, तू रन चंडी, तू काव्य जयी। हर युग में तेरे रूप करे, हर पूजा में तू लागे नहीं। मन अपना तुझ तक ले लाऊं, तेरे सुमिरन से सुख पाऊं। हे परम सुखदाई परदायनी हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। मैं आत पहर महिमा गाऊं, तेरे सुमिरन से सुख पाऊं। हे परम सुखदाई परदायनी हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ। जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ। जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ।
बोलो श्री दुर्गा माता की जय. Thank you, Bhumika. We'll now have the Durga Chalisa by G. Gabriel. For those online, please take a moment to please share this stream with your family and friends. Let them join with us together in Satsangh. Of course, today, as always, we'll be doing the Durga Chalisa, some prayers, some chantings, and of course, Katha. And then we'll finish promptly to start our Aarti. Thank you for joining with us, everyone. Sitaram Jai Mata Di. And we'll now have the Durga Chalisa.
Saraswate Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvate Sadike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namastute Narayani Namastute Jai Ambe Jagadambe Ma Jai Ambe Jagadambe Jai Ambe Jagadambe Ma Jai Ambe Jagadambe Namo Namo Durge Sukh Karani Namo Namo Ambe Dukh Harani Jai Ambe Jagadambe Ma Jai Ambe Jagadambe Namo Namo Durge Sukh Karani Namo Namo Ambe Dukh Harani Nirankar hai Jyoti tumhari Tumhe sada Shashilalat Mukh Maha Vishala Netra Lal Prakriti Vikarala रूप मात को अधिक सुहावे दर्श करत जन अति सुख पावे तुम संसार शक्ति लय कीना पालन हेतु अन्न धन दीना अन्नपूर्णा हुई है जगपाला तुम ही आदि सुंदरी बाला जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे
प्रलय काल सब नाशन हारे तुम गौरी शिव शंकर प्यारे शिव योगी तुमरे गुण गावे ब्रह्मा विष्णु तुम्हें नित्य ध्यावे रूप सरस्वती का तुम दारा दे सुबुद्धि ऋषि मुनि न उबारा धर्यो रूप नरसिंह को अम्बा परगत भये पार कर कंबा। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे जय अम्बे बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। रक्षा करी प्रहलाद बचायो हिरण्याकशु को स्वर्ग बतायो। लक्ष्मी रूप धरो नहीं माही श्री नारायण अंग संहारो। क्षीर सिंधु में करत विलासा दया सिंधु दीचे मन आसा। हिंगलाज में तुम्ही भवानी महिमा अमित न जात बकानी। मैं अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। मातंगी धूमावती माता भुवनेश्वरी बगला सुखदाता। श्री भैरवतारा जगतारिणी चिन्ह बाल भव दुख निहारन। के हरिवाहन सोहे भवानी लंगूर वीर चलत अगवानी। कर में कपर कर गविराज जाको देख काल धर बाज। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे।
सो है करव और त्रिशूला जात उत्तर शत्रु ही शूला। नगर कोटि में तुम्ही विराजत तुम्ही लोक में डंका बाजत। शुंभ निशुंभ दानव तुम मारे रक्त बीज शंकर संहारे। महिषासुर नृप अति अभिमानी जही अगबार मही अकुलानी। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। रूप कराल काली को दारा सेन सहित तुम ही संहारा। परिगार संतन पर जब जब बही सहाय मात तुम तब तब। अमरपुरी अरुबा सब लोका तब महिमा सब रहे अशोका। बाला में है ज्योति तुम्हारी तुम्हें सदा पूजे नर नारी। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। प्रेम भक्ति से जो नर गावे दुख दरिद्र निकट नहीं आवे। ध्याये तुम्हें जो नर मन लाए जन्म मरण का चोचुत गावे। जोगी सुर मुनि कहत पुकार, जोग न हो बिन शक्ति तुम्हारा। शंकर आचरहि तब कीनो, कामरु क्रोध जीत सब लीनो। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। शरणागत हुई कीर्ति बखानी, जय 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 जगदम्ब भवानी। वही प्रसन्न आदि जगदम्बा, दही शक्ति नहीं की न विलंबा। मूक मातु कष्ट अति गेरो, तुम बिन कौन हरे दुख मेरो। आशा तृष्णा निपत सतावे, रिपु मूरत मोहि अति दर पावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। शत्रुनाश की जय महारानी, सुमिरो एक चित तुम्हें भवानी। करो कृपा है मातु दयाला, रिद्धि सिद्धि को करह निहाला। जब लग जियो दया पल पाओ, तुम्हारो यश में सदा सुनाओ। दुर्गा चालीसा जो कोई गावे, सब सुख भोग परम पद पावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, 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 जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
बोलो जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय। That is the Durga Chalisa. The Durga Chalisa that many of us do not know, but fills a very important role in explaining the glories of Mata Durga in the same way that the Hanuman Chalisa does for Hanumanji Swami. We say, Namo Namo Durge Sukha Karani, Namo Namo Ambe Dukha Harani. In the first verse we say, I bow to you, O Goddess Durga, the grantor of all happiness. I bow to you, O Goddess Amba, who ends all miseries. Nirankar hai jyoti tumhari, tihun lok pehli ujiyari. The radiance of your light is limitless and all-pervading, and all the three realms, heaven, earth, and the nether region, they're all enlightened by you. Tiho lok pheli ujiyari. All of them are enlightened just by your grace. Sitaram, and welcome again to our weekly satsang, our Shanti satsang dedicated to Ma Durga every Friday. And I hope that all of you online and the few of us in here in person, hope you're all doing well. I have a question I'd like to start off with for all of you. The question is, for those of us who practice this Sanatana Dharma, this religion that we call Hinduism, why is it that our gods fight gruesome demons? Why is it that our Ma, our Bhavani Ma, our Durga Ma, why is it that she has to have all these weapons and have these fights with all of these demons? As we know, she takes on many, many forms. So let's see in this beautiful chanting the forms that she takes on. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jaya Bhutarti Harini Jaya Sarvagate Devi Kalaratri Namostute Om Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai Ma Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai Ma Rupam Dehi
Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
Madhuketa Bavidravi Vidhatri Varade Namaha Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai Ma Rupam Dehi
Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
Om Mahyashasur Niranashi Bhaktanam Sukhde Namaha Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai Rupam Dehi
Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
रक्त बीज वदे देवी छंद मुंद विनाशिनी रूपम देहि जयम देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपम देहि जयम देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय मा रूपम देहि जयम देहि यशो देहि
Dvaso Jai
शुंभस्य वे निशुंभस्य धूम्राक्षश्च मर्दिनी रूपम देहि जयम देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय मा रूपम
Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
वंदितां गृहे गृहे देवी सर्वसौभाग्यदायिनी रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि
Dvaso Jai
अचिन्त्य रूप चरिते सर्वशत्रु विनाशिनी रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपं देहि
Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
तेभ्यः सर्वदा भक्त्या चण्डिके दुर्तापहे रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय मा रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपं देहि
Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
देहि सौभाग्यमारोग्यं देहि मे परमं सुखं रूपं देहि जयं देहि
Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
रूपं देहि
Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvaso Jai
स्तुवद्भ्यो भक्तिपूर्वं त्वं चण्डिके व्याधिनाशिनी रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो जय मा रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दृसो videhi dvashitam nasham videhi balamuchake rupam dehi jayam dehi yasho dehi dvisoje rupam dehi jayam dehi yasho dehi dvisoje ma rupam dehi jayam dehi yasho dehi dvisoje 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 ma rupam dehi jayam dehi yasho dehi dvisoje yasho dehi dvisoje yasho dehi dvisoje Rupam dehi jayam dehi yasho dehi dvisoje. Rupam means form, of course. And Ma Bhavani, she takes all of these different forms in our life. In one of the verses that we read, we say, Achintya rupa charite sarva shatru vinashini. Sarva, if we break this down, the Sanskrit is very simple to understand. Sarva means all. Shatru is enemy. Vinashini means to destroy. So we say, Ma Durga, in this form of yours, in these different forms that you take all of these sometimes to destroy all of our enemies in life. So again I ask, why does Ma Durga have these weapons, and why does she use them to fight these demons? Yes, of course, we know that she needs to destroy them. We know the simple answer. We know that she needs to fight these demons in order to rid them from the earth because they're causing trouble. But why is it that our God is depicted in so many different ways in fighting these demons? We know that fighting is wrong. We learned this from a very, very young age. And we were taught, even in school, that we should keep our hands to ourselves. But yet, when we look to our scriptures, we can see that there are weapons, that there are wars. When we look to the world, we can see that both Russia and Ukraine have their boxing gloves up. We can see that there's many people on this earth still fighting. We're seeing that even though these people are fighting, it's affecting the rest of the world. And don't get me started on how high the gas price is because of the war between Russia and Ukraine. It's affecting all of us. It's affecting all of us because we have to pay for these things. So before I answer this question as to why we have this in our dharma, I want to tell you that if you do not know the answer to this, if you do not know the true answer to these questions, and you hear someone asking this, the best thing that you can do is to refer that person to someone else who knows a little bit more about how to answer it. The best thing that you can do is to refer someone to someone else. Refer the questioner to someone else who may know the answer. And I say this very carefully because when we look at our religion, we understand what's happening. But for people outside of our religion, and even those that do not practice very often, but they consider themselves Hindus, these are questions in their minds. These are things that they wonder. And sometimes they may look upon our religion and think, you know what, I don't know about this. And usually when we don't know something, we say, well, that doesn't make sense. And then when you learn the true answer, when you learn the reason behind what you were questioning in the first place, then everything becomes clear. Everything becomes clear to you. So for those who do not know the answer to this question, those listening, if you do not know the answer, then refer the questioner to someone who may know a little bit more or may know how to explain it a little bit more clearly. But hopefully after listening to today's katha, you will be someone who can answer this question with that clarity in mind and with an understanding as to why we do all these things. So for those that look at our religion and they wonder, why is there so much fighting? Why is there so much violence? What we can do initially is to say what many other religions say. Because it's not just in Hinduism that we have violence. We can say that our God, our Ma Bhavani, the simple answer is that she's fighting these demons for us. Remember what I said in the beginning? That is the simple answer. We can say that she's fighting these demons for us in the same way that Jesus was crucified on the cross for the sins of mankind. This is the explanation of it. That he took on the sins of mankind and bared that for himself. In the same way that Muhammad fought wars for the people. In the same way, our Durga Ma, she fights these battles for each and every single one of us. She fought these wars and she fought these demons. Now, of course, we know in our religion that there's almost a double standard here. One of our greatest commandments is ahimsa. So let's see what Bhagwan Shri Krishna has to say about this. Narayan Karuna me sharanam Jai Lakshmi Pati Vishnu sharanam Narayan Karuna me sharanam
Jai Lakshmi Pati Vishnu Sharanam.
O Narayan Karuna me sharanam Jai Lakshmi Pati Vishnu sharanam
Narayan Karuna me sharanam. Jai Lakshmi Pati Vishnu sharanam.
विपत्ति हमारी तुमने तारी विपत्ति हमारी तुमने तारी शोक मिटाए भव भय हारी शोक मिटाए भव भय हारी परम पिता परमेश्वर शरणं 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 नारायण करुणा मे शरणं जय लक्ष्मी पति विष्णु शरणं नारायण करुणा
मे शरणं. जय लक्ष्मी पति विष्णु शरणं.
अहिंसा सत्य क्रोधस्त्यागा शांति परैश्वरं दया भूते बलो युक्ता मार्दवं हृतचापरं नारायण करुणा मे शरणं जय लक्ष्मी पति विष्णु शरणं नारायण करुणा मे शरणं जय लक्ष्मी पति विष्णु शरणं जय लक्ष्मी पति विष्णु शरणं जय लक्ष्मी पति विष्णु शरणं. This is chapter 16, verse 2. This is, if for those at home, you can follow along. I'm sure you probably have a Bhagavad Gita in your house by now. And for those in person, I'll help you along with the explanation. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, ahimsa as the first word. Ahimsa satya krodhas tyagaha. Shantir Paishunam. He says, he starts to list all of these names off. You know, in chapter 16, Sri Krishna, he speaks very freely. And he speaks harsh words, not to anyone in particular, but he says things that can hit home to many of us. He says things that can make us wake up to our senses, or maybe feel like he's speaking about us in certain ways. In chapter 16, he says that there are good people and there are demonic people in the world. He says there are two classifications. He says the good people, as in the verse, they follow ahimsa satya krodha. They follow ahimsa satya akrodha. So that's non-violence, truthfulness, not anger. And he says, because they follow all of these good qualities as he listed in this verse, they are of divine nature. He says they are all good people, and if they follow these qualities, they are of divine nature. But then on the other hand, in the same chapter 16, verse 13, Bhagavan Shri Krishna now tells us about the opposite. He tells us about the demonic people, people that are not so good, or people that have lost their way in this life. He says, Aso maya hataha shatru hanishye chaparayamyapi ishvaro aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. Shri Krishna, in this verse, he actually mocks the demonic people. He says earlier in these verses that these souls believe that the world is run through lust and lust alone. These demonic people, they allow this lust and desire. They allow that alone to sustain their world. They believe that this is all it takes for their world to keep continuing. And so in these verses, it's actually 13 to 15. Shri Krishna, he mocks them. And he says, this is how they speak. He's speaking from their point of view. And he says, what do they say? They say, I have gained this today. I shall obtain this according to my desires. This wealth is mine, and in the future more will come. The enemy has been defeated by me, and I shall defeat others. I am the controller, and I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, I am powerful and happy. I am rich, I am aristocratic. Is there anyone like me in this world? And then it continues. I will perform yajna, I will give to charity, I will rejoice. Sri Krishna says, thus the demonic are deluded by ignorance. He speaks from their point of view and he says, I am this, I am that. This is not Sri Krishna saying that he is this, but rather he is explaining how these people think. And of course, I don't believe that any person on a bad path would actually speak like this and use these exact same words. But I know for a fact that they will think this way. And there are many of us that think in an egoistic type of way as well. Shri Krishna tells us that the good ones are the ones who practice ahimsa, and the demonic, they practice violence. Because in the verse we read, it says, this enemy has been defeated by me, and I shall defeat many others in the future. He's saying this is how they think. So the good practice ahimsa, and the demonic practice violence. But at the same time, now we question. He tells Arjuna to fight. And at the same time, or at least previously, Ma Durga has fought in many wars and battles. Lord Ram has fought against Ravana in an entire war. How could this be? How could this make sense if this is the rule of good people, if this is how good people need to act, how is it that our gods can fight these wars? You see, the truth is that they, Bhagwan, they fought in these wars and these battles so that the rest of us do not need to. They have fought these battles so that we do not need to pick up a bow and arrow. And I'm sure if Arjuna did not pick up his bow at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, after 18 days and 18 chapters of convincing from Bhagwan Shri Krishna, if he did not pick up his bow and fight, could you imagine what the world would be like today? Maybe we'd be fighting to this day for our freedom and the rights and the privileges that we have. For those listening, you're able to come to this mandir. You're able to turn on your television and tune in. You're not paying anything to be here. You have a right to be here, to listen. So just imagine what the world would be like if we had to fight for all of these basic rights that we have. Have you ever heard the saying, I'm a lover, not a fighter? Someone says this, or people say this a lot. But I heard someone else say that this doesn't make sense. Because you have to fight for what you love. So everyone in essence is a fighter, because we should all be fighting for love. You see, the types of wars that you and I go through on a daily basis, it's very, very different than the wars Ma Bhavani fought. There's very different than the ones that Bhagwan has fought. Very different demons. But the demons are just as evil that we have. They're just not as ugly as Mahishasura. The demons that we have are these negative qualities. The demons that we have are temptations. And so they don't look in the same way that Mahishasura does. They don't look in the same way as these demons do. But they're still just as evil and still just as real. So Bhagwan has to take all of these forms to stop all of these different demons. But now here's another very, very important question. Why is it that God had to take the life of these demons instead of simply stopping them? We know that God had to fight now to stop these demons from what they're doing. But why is it that they had to go to this extent? Why couldn't Ma Durga just take away the power that Mahishasura had? Why couldn't she just stop him from shifting into the form of a buffalo and shape-shifting into different other forms? This was his power. If she took away his powers, his life might have been saved. And he wouldn't probably cause any harm because he had no power over anyone. But now I say, if we think about it, when a toddler picks up a stick and begins to hit you over the head with it, what do? You take the stick away from the toddler and you take them to go and play. They don't know any better. When a child takes a stick and hits you over the head, keeps hitting you, what do you do then? You take the stick away and you take the child into a timeout. They know a little bit better at that phase. But when a person, an adult, comes and they're hitting you over the head with the same stick, you take the stick away and you take them directly to jail. 3 different punishments for 3 different people. What I'm saying is that there are consequences of these actions that we have. There are consequences that these demons had because of a result of their actions. And the truth is that everyone on the planet is supposed to look at these stories and say, I can learn from them. You're supposed to look at these stories and say, okay, now I know what not to do. You can look at the good stories of the good devotees and understand what we should be doing. This is obvious. But also look at these other stories and learn from them as well. Have you ever heard anyone say the term God-fearing? Some people say, oh, he is a God-fearing man. She is a God-fearing woman. God-fearing might not mean what we think it means. It does not mean that we should be afraid of God, because I don't think that makes sense. How could you have a relationship with Bhagwan if you're afraid? So I believe that the term God-fearing means something different altogether. That the only reason that you should be afraid of God is if you are in fact a demon. Because you continue to be driven by all the negative qualities in the world. In Hinduism, or for Hinduism, when we think about this term, it does not mean that you should fear God, but Ma Durga does not have all these weapons in order to chase you away. Her weapons in her hands, in her 18 hands, are not to chase you away. They're to chase the demons. They're to conquer the demons, to fight these demons. And they each have a meaning behind every single item that she holds. So God-fearing should mean that we fear that we do not have the grace of God, not that we fear God. And so if anyone looks at our murtis and they say that our murtis or our pictures look scary, that they fear what they see, then you can say that these forms, you can say this, but don't tell anyone that I told you to say this. You can say that these forms are only meant to scare away demons. So what does that say about you if you're scared? I'm just kidding. Of course, don't say this to anyone. And if you do say it, then don't say that I told you to do it. But you may be able to say that the reason that God goes so far to punish these demons is also out of compassion. Compassion for these demons. God fights with these demons, but yet we can say it is out of compassion. How? Om Bolo Ram, 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 Sita 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 Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram. ओ जन्म जन्म मुनि जतन कराहे, अंतराम कही आवत नाहे, जासु नाम बल शंकर काशी, देत सब ही मम गति अविनाशी। बोलो राम, बोलो राम, बोलो राम, बोलो राम, सीताराम, 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 सीताराम. We say that we can that God can have compassion for these demons as well. The body that we have now, we're able to feel and experience the world around us. Without this body that we have, we would not be able to experience anything. We would not be able to experience listening to this katha. For those seeing this katha, seeing me, you would not be able to feel the chair that you're even sitting in. And these seem like good things. But if you look on the other hand as well, without this body, you would not be able to experience even the negative things around us. This body can also be addicted to many, many things in this world. Things that are not so good for it. And of course, living with any type of addiction can never be good. For Mahishasur, the form of a buffalo, it probably isn't the nicest thing for him to have even. You can ask, why is it that he chose or he chooses to be a buffalo? Why doesn't he choose another animal, something maybe more majestic, something nicer looking? You see, all of these things that we think he chooses is not how it works. Because your inner character, the way that you are on the inside, is how you will be portrayed on the outside. Who you are on the inside will reflect who you are on the outside as well. How you look, how you appear, how you react to people and situations. And in the verse that we just read, for Bali, the brother of Sugriv, it was very, very easy to tell his character. Do you know why? Because he was very, very consumed with anger. He was consumed with his emotions. And if he only caught a single glance of his brother, if he only caught a single glance of Sugriv, he would become enraged. And right away, he would go out to fight Sugriv. He became furious and he chased after him, stopping whatever he was doing altogether. You see, Bali cared about nothing else than to hurt and fight. So it was easy to tell the emotions that Bali had inside because he portrayed those emotions in his actions, in the way he appeared. And so we have this body, and this body can be addicted and lustful for the wrong things in life. And one day, God shows up right in front of you, and He's asking, do you want to continue along the path that you're walking? Or would you prefer to come with me? Would you prefer to join me? What would you say? Bali had the same choice. He laid in front of Prabhu Shri Ram and he said, Janma Janma Muni Jatanu Karahi. He says, even the sages, they go through this life after life, waiting for this moment. Antakala. He says, Antarama Kahi Avat Nahi. Where Bhagwan Shri Ram would be standing right in front of them. They live countless lives trying to find this one moment. And he says, now that you're standing in front of me, O Ram, O Prabhu Shri Ram, I will go with you to your abode. You see, it's my wish today that you all keep this same thought in your minds, that you understand that Ma Durga, she has fought these demons for us, and that we should learn from the demons' mistakes. From all the demons in our stories, we should learn from their mistakes as well. We should not fear God, but rather we should have this fear if we are not on a godly path. We should be God-fearing because we are not close enough to Bhagwan. That should always be our mission. We should keep ahimsa in our minds and follow the example that Bhagwan Shri Krishna explained in the Gita. And of course, if Sri Ram comes to collect you, regardless of the life that you've lived, good or bad, you should have at least a little bit of the wisdom that Bali had in that final moment. And remember to let go of everything and to hold on towards God. Hold on to God and let Him take you to His abode. Thank you for joining with us again in this evening's Katha, everyone. To close off, we have a couple announcements. February 20th at 10 a.m., we have Shiva Sahasram and the Bhavani Shankar Yantra Puja. This is February 20th at 10 a.m. Of course, you can order your puja items available online. They are now up on our store. And if you need more details about the ingredients and more information about what types of puja we're going to be doing, you can find all of this on our Facebook, our website, and in our app as well. February 23rd to February 27th, we have our Shiv Puran Katha. This will be done at 7 p.m. for each of those nights. The sponsorship is now open if you would like to sponsor a session for one of these Shiv Puran Kathas, very unique, very different Katha that we don't normally get to hear. Then please visit our website, bhavanishankarmandir.com/Shivratri. So that's SHIVRATRI. Of course, if you need more information about this, you can visit our Facebook or our website as well. And the last event coming up this month, we have Mahashivratri, of course, February 28th. And we're taking sponsors for each prahar, each of the time zones, each of the time blocks in Shivratri. So to sponsor one of these prahars, please visit, of course, our website again at the same link, Shivratri. Of course, if you need more information about this, you can visit our website. Thank you again for joining with us, everyone. Let us now all please stand for Aarti. Om Yani Kani Cha Papani Janmantare Kritani Cha Tani Sarvani Nashyantu Pradakshina Pare Pare.
Om Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri Tumko निश दिन ध्यावत
नागशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिविद्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। ॐ द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिराप शान्तिरौषधे शान्ति वनस्पति शान्ति विश्वदेव शान्ति ब्रह्म शान्ति सर्वगं शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्तिः साम शान्तिरेधीषु शान्तिर्भवतु। ॐ गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति ॐ शान्ति ॐ शान्ति हरिः ॐ। बोलिए मापति महादेव की, पवन सुत हनुमान की, सिया भज रामचंद्र की, श्री दुर्गा माता की, श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की। सबको जय जय सीताराम। Thank you everyone. Have a great night.